Good morning, guys. How are you all doing? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you've had a good week and you've got something lovely planned for the weekend. Where is time going at the moment? How are we already a week into November? I'm sort of just like, time's just flying by. I'm out on this handsome devil. He's gorgeous. He is a chocolate dun. He's beautiful. Still gloomy. The weather just doesn't change. It just stays like this all day long. It's really boring, isn't it? We need sunshine. Yeah, it's just literally this all day. I don't know if it's just us in the southwest or whether the whole country is under a grey cloud, but it's boring. Anyway, this week's subject on historical horses is one of the Queen's horses. Now, I obviously knew the late Queen loved her horses and had lots of them. I knew she rode and all that, but I had never taken any notice of the horses that she owned and her favourites as such and things like that. So I think there's going to probably be a few of these style vlogs over my channel in the next few months, because having done a little bit more research, turns out the Queen had lots of horses that she would class as favourites. And we are starting with one very beautiful black beauty of a mare called Burmese.
Evening, guys. I am now in my living room and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the wonderful Burmese. And the reason that this horse stood out to me so much was because the Queen and Burmese took part in 18 Trooping the Colour parades, which is quite phenomenal when you think about it. Trooping the Colour is a military parade that takes place annually, and it's to celebrate the official birthday of the British monarch. It's a big parade, so imagine lots of noise, big atmosphere, huge amounts of crowds, just generally a very scary place for a horse. But let's go back to the beginning and I'll tell you a bit more about how Burmese ended up becoming one of the Queen's most cherished horses. So Burmese was born at the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Ranch in Fort Welsh in 1962, Canada. She was thoroughbred cross Canadian warm blood, but I've also seen that she's possibly thoroughbred cross Hanoverian, so I'm not sure which is the truth there, but let's say she was warm blood cross thoroughbred. Her sire was actually a British thoroughbred called Faux Pas, who actually ended up being sent to Canada. Burmese was a special horse from the off. At just age 6, she was selected to lead the Royal Canadian Mounted Police musical ride, which just shows how confident and brave she was even from a really young age. She was presented to Her Majesty by the RCMP in late April 1969, when representatives came to England to perform at Royal Windsor. Burmese was now 7 and had been trained well by the RCMP to cope with crowds, drums, and to deal with obstacles being thrown. Burmese wasn't just ridden by the Queen either, but also the Duke of Edinburgh at a rehearsal for the Trooping the Colour, which I think shows just how wonderful and versatile this mare was, safe for both the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. Her Majesty, of course, rode the mare on parade days, and as I said earlier, the late Queen rode Burmese in 18 consecutive Trooping the Colour parades. I believe the Queen rode side saddle on Burmese for all of the Trooping the Colour, but don't quote me on that. But all the pictures I've seen, she's always been side saddle, which I think makes it even more impressive, because I think, are you a bit more vulnerable if you're side saddle? So you need a horse that is very level-headed and is going to cope with all that noise and atmosphere. So I just think Burmese and the Queen must have had this formidable bond that they had such trust in each other. In 1981, the Queen was riding side saddle on Burmese when Marrcol Sergeant, just 17 at the time, fired 6 blank shots near the Queen as she rode down the mall. Understandably, this frightened many of the horses in the parade, including Burmese. However, the Queen's strong bond with the mare meant she quickly had her settled again. Burmese was retired in 1986, aged 24. I love this photo of the Queen riding Burmese alongside Ronald Reagan. He was riding Centennial, a black gelding who was also gifted to the Queen by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And it was known that she regularly chose Burmese to ride out on because she was one of her favourite horses. Burmese was retired to the fields surrounding Windsor, and when she died aged 28, she was buried on the Windsor grounds, which really was an honour and a rare thing to happen, which just shows how much she meant to the Queen. In Canada, there is a statue of the Queen riding Burmese, as well as one in the UK at the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst. Interestingly, the Queen never rode in another Trooping the Colour after Burmese was retired. The Queen then chose to go in the carriage, which again shows just how strong their relationship must have been, and that the Queen obviously didn't feel she had that bond or connection with another horse, that she felt safe enough to ride in a parade again. So this mare really was one in a million. And I think I've looked it up, and I don't think they did ever breed from her, and I'm thinking they can't possibly have done, because this mare worked until she was 24, so she wouldn't have had time to have a year or two off to have a foal, which is a shame, because she was obviously so incredibly special. It's, you know, I feel like it's a bit of a shame they didn't breed from her, but what a service she did for the Queen, and how lucky the Queen was to have a horse like Burmese that she could perform in the parades and go galloping in Windsor Park and have, you know, just those special moments away from her work, to be able to kind of let her hair down and just enjoy the magic that is owning a horse and riding a horse. So yeah, it's been wonderful, and I'm quite excited to research a few more of the Queen's favourite horses. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and see you guys again very soon.